Hello. Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. So I think we're the least famous project to speak here today. My name is Pablo. I'm a co-founder of Angle Protocol. We are a decentralized stablecoin protocol behind AG Euro. So it's a Euro stablecoin. We took a super targeted go-to-market strategy. We're live on many different chains. We have a TVL of approximately 30 million. And we are the biggest decentralized Euro stablecoin to date. So today I'll be giving I'll be introducing a new design for a stablecoin that applies to Angle and AG Euro, but that can apply to potentially any stablecoin protocol out there. So I'm glad to get this opportunity to speak today because the year of 2023 was rather tough for us as a stablecoin protocol. Angle, we unfortunately got involved into the Euler hack, which led our stablecoin AG Euro to depeg. And right before the Euler hack, we faced a big event, which was a big learning event for Angle, but also for all the stablecoin out there, which was the USDC depeg. So for those who remember, in the month of March 2023, the price of USDC crashed over a weekend to, well, 96 cents according to CoinGecko, but if you looked into on-chain data, it was more 90 cents. And so this event, where like USDC was a stablecoin which was backing a lot of stablecoin protocols, showed that there was no stablecoin protocol that was sufficiently well prepared to handle Black Swan events. So it was a big learning occasion. So what happened, for instance, in the case of Maker? So for those who don't know, Maker, they have what we call a price stability module, where they have USDC, but also GUSD, which people can use to mint DAI, or people can burn DAI for the assets in the price stability module. So when USDC was worth 9 cents, $0.9, people like minted with their USDC DAI, and the protocol assumed that like stablecoins could be exchanged at a 1-1 rate, and so people redeem GUSD worth $1. So basically, Maker got armed. The GUSD reserves of the protocol got fully depleted, and Maker ended up only exposed to a weak asset at the time, which was USDC. The thing is, during all this period, no one had an idea of the fair value of Maker, because the Maker governance had to intervene to change some parameters of the price stability module. So there was not a full transparency for existing stakeholders. I mean, the governance processes were transparent, but not anyone could anticipate what would happen to Maker. And in fact, what happened to Maker is a natural tendency for many automated systems. So here I've plotted the evolution of the composition of the 3CRV pool on curve. The fact is, when you have an automated system in DeFi, like the 3CRV pool, it's often left holding the weakest assets in face of distress. So if you look into Uniswap pools, if you have a token that is depreciating, well, the majority of the pool will be composed of this weak asset. So here, what I'm going to try to do and to explain is to show how we can build an automated system that can improve, that can resist this kind of natural tendency of all the reserves being fully exposed and made of the weak asset. And the reason why we want to do this is, you know, like Maker held like billions of USDC, and if we really want to revolutionize the world's financial infrastructure using finance on blockchains, well, we need systems that can autonomously withstand any form of Black Swan events, because there will be other Black Swan events. So this brings the question of, what should an ideal stablecoin look like? Well, first, it should be scalable, like it should work with 1 billion TVL, just like with 1 million TVL. It should be autonomous. You shouldn't need any form of governance or manual intervention in the face of a Black Swan event. It should be resilient in the sense that it is able to come back even better from like situations like the USDC depeg. It should be fair. Like there shouldn't be any privilege advantage to some addresses. There shouldn't be any sequentiality in place, creating bank run mechanisms where it's like first arrived, first served. Here, Maker, their reserves were diversified between USDC and GUSD. So a good stablecoin system should have diversified reserves. And also, it should be generalizable to any type of asset. Like here, Angle, we're pushing for the euro, Maker for the dollar, Aave is doing the Go dollar, but like we need to bring on-chain primitives back to almost anything. So the system should work for USD, a euro, a CHF stablecoin, or any type of asset. So how do we manage to build this? And I'm going to explain here the vision and the mechanism that we call the transmitter we have developed with Angle. So transmitter, it's kind of simple. It works as a basket of different assets which are isolated in the reserves. Transmitter needs to detect when something goes wrong with one of the assets that is held in the reserve. So we need to take to follow for each asset a target price and a current price, and that's why we introduce the deviation metric. We also need a way to control how the reserves, what the reserves are made up. So we need to control our exposure to each of the assets in the reserve. So for instance, we want to track that, we have 40% of the stablecoin are backed by USDC, 30% by Go, and 30% by DAI. And this exposure metric is something that the transmitter system tries to always maintain and control during its operations. So with this mechanism, there are three main operations that I'll be explaining. You can mint a stablecoin, you can burn it, and you can redeem it. And I'll explain the distinction between burn and redemptions here. So the goal of the system is to make sure that when something goes wrong, the assets are not, the reserves are not only made up of the weak assets. So it's to kind of freeze the exposures of the system in case of a black swan, like the USDC peg. How do we do this? At the mint level, it is possible to mint the stablecoin at a price which is equal to the minimum or the maximum of the invert of the target price and the current price. So if you have a stablecoin in the reserve, well, you assume that the target price of this stablecoin is like €1, but if this stablecoin is worth 95 cents, well, you will need to bring one dividing point, 0.95, to mint the stablecoin. And it actually makes it expensive to mint the stablecoin, like AG Euro, with a depegged asset. So in this sense, here with the mint, we would have prevented people to mint DAI with USDC during the USDC depeg. In the burn case, we saw that with the Maker example, people were burning that DAI for GUSD. And the thing is, with the transmitter, the price at which the burn happens, it's the smallest price of all the stablecoins in the reserves. So if, for instance, you have USDC and GUSD in the reserves, you will be able to burn DAI for GUSD, but at a price which is equal to the USDC price. And this guarantees that if something goes wrong, well, people are not all going to rush towards the safe assets and to exit with the safe assets. So here, with just this mint and burn functionalities, we have a mechanism that, without needing any governance intervention, provided that we have solid oracles, we can freeze the exposures of the system, we can freeze the reserves and make sure that not everything goes into something that is weak. So here I give an example of, when you mint with one stablecoin, you are increasing the exposure to this stablecoin, and when you burn for another stablecoin, you are decreasing these exposures. So we have this mechanism to freeze the reserves, the exposures, but how do we make the exposures to each asset converge towards the desired ratio? How do we guarantee that, when I set my parameters, I will end up with 50% USDC and 50% GUSD, for instance? The way we do this, and the way the transmitter natively supports this, is by having dynamic fees, which depend on the desired exposures to this asset. So for instance, if you are overexposed to an asset, it's going to be cheap to burn for this asset, and it's going to be expensive to mint with this asset. And this way, and through simulations, you can naturally, and provided that the system is well integrated by aggregators like 1inch, Odos, and this kind of systems, you get a way to make your exposures converge towards the desired ratio. But what if, things go wrong and people no longer want to burn because the fees have been set to 100%? What if people can no longer exit because fees are too high for them? And this is really the changing feature of transmitter, is that there is a redemption feature. And it's kind of natural when you think about it. In bankruptcy remote system, when you own a stablecoin or when you own an asset from a company, if this company goes bankrupt, or even in normal cases, you should be eligible to own a portion of the reserves of this company. So the redemption of the transmitter enables you to exchange a portion of the stablecoin issued by the system against a portion of the reserves. So like you come with 1 AG euro, there are two, 1 euro A, 1 euro B in reserve, you get 0.5 of each stablecoin. It comes with a subtlety in the sense that when you redeem, you may pay a penalty factor. And this is a feature which is inspired by Gyroscope, which is another stablecoin protocol out there. Meaning that if the stablecoin starts to be a bit under-collateralized because, I don't know, USDC peg, you are paying a small fee when redeeming, which disincentivizes bank runs and kind of recollateralizes the system. So in case of a small stress like the USDC peg, you may leave if you want to, you may redeem a portion of the reserves, but you will do this in a way that makes everyone better off. And this redemption system, which doesn't involve like any price computation, is what makes the system truly fair. You know, you redeem a portion of the reserves, you're not affecting the exposures, and you are making sure that everyone is treated the same way. This feature also, it exists at all times. You don't need any governance intervention to activate it. And it makes the system truly predictable to all stakeholders. Like, if Maker had this redemption feature, well, no one would have needed to anticipate the outcome of the governance votes, you know. People would have been able to see, look, I can redeem my DAI for a portion of the reserves, and this is what the fair value of DAI is, since I can always redeem it. So depending on the scenario, you may prefer to burn or redeem, and there are different situations where you may be better off redeeming in terms of monetary value you're getting, or of burning. So back to the transmitter with these three systems. Is it a system that is scalable? Yes, because all the parameters are relative. Like, it's not absolute figures, and you can have the same set of parameters with 1 million TVL or 1 billion. It's autonomous. You don't need any governance intervention to activate the features protecting it in case of Black Swan. It's resilient because you may want to leave at any time in case of Black Swan, but you are leaving the system better off in this case. It's fair because of the redemption. There is no there will be no MEV type of stuff with people rushing to redeem the stablecoin because everyone is treated the same. Reserves can be diversified, and it works for AG Euro. It can work for any stablecoin. We've got some additional properties like implementation is gas efficient. We have some path independence. So if you look into the white paper, we derive some mathematical elements to show how we can implement this efficiently. So on applications, again, I mentioned Angle and AG Euro. In fact, you could imagine as well an ETH stablecoin that is backed by LSTs, liquid staking tokens, and that serves like as a basket of different liquid staking tokens, and that passes the average yield to the stablecoin holders. And in fact, the way we see the transmitter system is like as a basket of stablecoin that aims to be more resilient than any of the assets in the backing. So if you make this like ETH stablecoin, the goal would be to have the ETH stablecoin safer than any LST taken individually, like staked ETH, Frax ETH, and so on. The big question, though, like here I've introduced a system. Well, it's not live yet, but simulation shows that it works. But is it really a stablecoin that is used? And you know, your job when you're contributing to a stablecoin project is, one, to make sure that the stablecoin holds and will keep its peg at all times. But two, and it's probably the most important thing, and many people tend to forget about it, it's to create demand. So how can you create demand with a system like this? I'm going to take a kind of an opinionated answer and kind of answer the way we count on doing this with Angle and how this system can naturally help us build demand for Angle stablecoins. The first thing is the system can be compatible with any collateral assets. Like you can have real-world assets, for instance, that are earning a yield. And the advantage of having these assets is that it makes the protocol kind of efficient in terms of revenue. You know, you have assets in your reserves that are earning a yield. And contrarily to other like banking systems where, you know, like the Silicon Valley Bank, they have deposits, they are investing these deposits into like bonds. But whenever someone comes to redeem, to withdraw their money from the Silicon Valley Bank, they need to sell their bonds, they need to sell their portfolio and acknowledge their loss. Here with the transmitter, you don't need to like sell when people are going to redeem because people can redeem the underlying, people can redeem the real world assets from scratch. when they are like burning, for instance, their AG euro. So all to say that this system can be an iteration, could be an iteration for Maker for their real-world assets. And for Angle, we are going to use it, provided that governance approves it, to power a native savings contract that is going to pay to every AG euro holder the risk-free yield of the market, because our intent is to have like forms of super risk, like with a super small risk, like government bonds and corporate bonds of super short maturity that leaves the protocol with no big exposure to interest rate risk. It's another question. How you choose your exposures. But in the end, this system, the transmitter system, but more generally, most decentralized stablecoin systems are super similar to what you get in other TradFi solutions. Like CDP infrastructures that enable you to take loan, like to borrow DAI. Well, they are similar to like what banks can offer when you put like shares of a company or your house to take a loan. The transmitter system and any form of price stability module, it's a way to, people deposit, and then there is some form of mechanism that enables to invest the reserves so that I can pay to people who deposit in the bank the yield I'm making on my reserves. But, like, what I'm personally interested in DeFi, it's not replicating, it's trying to improve over how like financial applications, how the financial ecosystem works. And here we are just replicating. And how can we actually put this at scale when it's already the equivalent of an industry that has existed for like hundreds of years? And I believe that the way we are going to grow DeFi and the way we are going to grow any stablecoin, it's by leveraging the core of the technological stack we are built on. It works for stablecoin, but it works for any type of asset. It's by leveraging the transparency, the composability of the systems that we are actually going to provide and to build tools that give incentives for people to use them at scale. Here with Transmitter, but it's going to be the same with any stablecoin. Anyone will be able to see the state of the reserves, to see that, oh, Angle may be facing a liquidity risk, to see that Angle has this exposure to USDC, rather than having to wait for a Circle announcement on, oh, we had some funds in the Silicon Valley Bank. And growing a stablecoin, as I said, it's not only going to be about inventing smart systems. It will need, and it's not going to be funny, it will need iterations around transparency, around auditability, around risk management, because here we can accept any asset in the backing, but what assets do we need to accept? It's going to be about DAO processes to make the management and the choice of parameters kind of efficient. It's going to be about iterations on smart contract security, because why would I put funds in a protocol if the expected probability that this protocol gets hacked is higher than the money I can make with this protocol? And it's by iterating on this that with strong systems like Transmitter, we'll eventually get to a place where stablecoins and decentralized stablecoins most likely will gain momentum. Thank you. So if you have, I'm running out of time. If you have any questions, I'll be outside to answer. Thank you.